The other day I talked a little bit about mind-body in meditation and in relationship personally to running, since I'm engaged in that sport and activity, and how the notion of meditation and meditation in action. So people may assume that meditation is a sedentary activity, and then when they hear meditation in action, it may be oxymoron. They may think this is a strange combination. But the notion is that actually when you're meditating in a still way, what it allows you to do is grab a hold of your mind. You possess your mind. They kind of like, in Tibetan we say like, sort of nyam lin, you bring something into experience, you use your mind, you harness your mind. A lot of times our mind is very scattered. The more scattered our mind is, the more discursive, the more energy gets dissipated, the more stressed out, irritated we become. So meditation is gathering that energy, consciousness, sight and sound, all of the consciousness, it's gathering it in. So when we gather it in, it becomes stronger. Just like if we're bringing in like a family who's scattered and you bring in all the members, it becomes stronger. There's a lot more energy. So meditation is gathering of the mind like that, and then focusing on the really important themes. And meditation in action is just taking that theme that you've developed by sitting still, that's really focused, and then engaging in your life with it. So if we're contemplating and we are meditating on the themes of awareness, mindfulness, contentment, satisfaction, practicing being satisfied, practicing being satisfied with what's happening. When your mind is satisfied with the present moment, when it's meditating and feels settled, we can get up off the cushion and have that feeling of goodness, feeling of balancedness, and saying, I'm okay. I feel balanced, I feel strong. So as soon as I get up from the cushion or meditation seat and I see something that makes me feel inadequate, or I see something that makes me desirous, or I lose my focus, or it steals my mind, at that moment you can say, I'm going to practice meditation in action. I'm going to be taking the theme that I developed, and now I'm living my life, but I'm going to continue that theme of centeredness, the theme of strong vitality. And from that point of view, we can engage in life, and as we're doing life, we have practiced self-awareness or knowing what we're doing. In Tibetan, it's called sheshin, currently or presently knowing what we're doing. So meditation in action just means you're taking a theme that's very, very important and then beginning to mix it with the life or bring it out in life. So I don't think, meditation in action is actually the result, or you can say it's the fruition. It's what meditation should go towards, because the point is not to be sitting there for the whole day, but maybe sitting there for an hour, or sitting there for 20 minutes, developing a strong theme and then mixing it. So what happens when you mix it with life? Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. We make mistakes, we realize, I lost my focus, I lost my attention, this took my mind, and then we come back and say, now I learned from that, I saw what happened. And then when we're re-entering into meditation again, we're taking the knowledge of living, we mix it into our meditation, it gives us further insight and fuel, and then we get up. So every time we're stronger and stronger as we go about doing things. And traditionally, we talk about there's various ways you can have meditation in action. You can practice it by, for example, the 6 paramitas. You can practice generosity, discipline, patience, exertion, all these elements you can practice in your life. It has to come from a wellspring. It has to be developed. I think often what happens is that people do not have the strengthening, which is referring to meditation, and then they try to do meditation in action. So when you don't, it's the same thing. When you haven't developed the strength, how can you do the activity? It's very difficult. Somewhere you have to accumulate that strength. And engaging is like having love or having mental fortitude or strength, having exertion, whatever it may be, you need to develop that somewhere. So again, here I think it's the meditation is developing, and then we're putting it into action. So meditation in action is something that I think we're already doing in some ways. We can further it. It's something that's totally natural, and it's something that stems from the power of our own development and training. we can put it in. And again, what I always recommend is, don't overdo it. Practice 10, 20, 30 minutes of it, and then try it. And then also, don't be a complete fanatic in terms of, people often think meditation action means you have to do everything in slow motion, like you're miming, and people think I'm slow in meditation, so I need to be slow. Well, sometimes life is quick, so you need to be quick. Sometimes it's slow, you need to be slow. And that means you have a nimble mind. You can do both. You have a nimble attitude. So how can you mix? But it's that theme of taking something and putting it into your life.